South Africa's national soccer team, Bafana Bafana, is on the verge of playing its most important match in decades. Later today, as it faces Mexico in the World Cup's opening game. But instead of focusing on the task at hand, players in the squad are now accusing their coach of being a racist. And the timing could hardly be any worse. With just a few hours to go before South Africa's biggest match in a generation, the man credited with ending Bafana Bafana's 24-year World Cup drought finds himself under investigation for said racism. You see, South Africa's national soccer team has qualified for the World Cup for the very first time in over 2 decades. The last time the team had qualified for a Soccer World Cup was in 2002, when they were being steered by Portuguese coach Carlos Queiroz. Of course, they also played in the 2010 World Cup, but they didn't do so because they actually qualified for being good enough, but because they were the hosts of it. Now, on the eve of Bafana's biggest match in over 15 years, a player in the World Cup squad has gone on and accused the team's Flemish-Belgian coach Hugo Broos of being a racist. Bafana Bafana is but a microcosm of the sickness that affects our country as a whole. There was once a time when they were really an above-average national football team. Today they are quite irrelevant, or were quite irrelevant before Hugo Broos came in and helped them to actually succeed, and just downright extremely bad for a country as big as South Africa. And, just like with any other failure in this country, any sort of failure is blamed on, and you'll be very surprised to hear this, racism. The notion of racism and apartheid became such a good excuse for incompetence and decline in this country that it even manifests itself in our national soccer team. Bafana Bafana used to be one of the powerhouses of Africa. In 1996, just a year after the South African rugby team won the World Cup for the first time, the national soccer team were crowned African champions when it defeated Tunisia 2-0 in the final of the tournament hosted on home soil that year. In August of that year, it also reached its highest ever ranking in the FIFA titles of 16th in the world. At that time, ranking even higher than traditional powerhouses such as England and Portugal. 2 years later, in 1998, Bafana almost won the African Cup of Nations for a second time, when it narrowly lost to Egypt in the final of that year's tournament hosted in Burkina Faso. That generation of soccer players also managed to qualify for the country's first ever World Cup in 1998. And all of this happened within only the first 6 years after South Africa's readmission to international sports. Now, what is very interesting about this is that all of the players involved in those initial successes when Bafana Bafana was at their peak, at their best, in the golden age between 1996 and 1998, were born, raised, trained and started their professional careers during the days of apartheid. The stars from that era, such as Dr. Khumalo, Phil Masinga, John Moshoeu and Lucas Radebe, all rose to prominence as professional soccer stars during the days of apartheid, playing for teams under the apartheid government such as Giant Blackpool based in Randfontein, Kaizer Chiefs based outside of Johannesburg, Morocco Swallows in Soweto, and of course Mamelodi Sundowns, which is based just outside of Pretoria. In 1994, the English Premier League giant Leeds United even recruited both Masinga and Radebe based on their performances in the local leagues here in South Africa that they played during the apartheid era. Although the team did manage to qualify for the 2002 World Cup in Korea and Japan, their performance at that tournament was very far from impressive, and they were of course knocked out in the group stages. And so from the late 90s onwards, as the group of players who rose onto the scene during the apartheid era retired, Bafana Bafana entered an era of radical decline in their performance, which would of course last for more than 2 decades. For more than 2 decades, one dismal performance after the other characterized our national soccer team's outings. Year after year, they failed to qualify not just for the World Cup, but even for the main draw of the African Cup of Nations. Their ranking dropped from a peak of 16th in the world in the 90s all the way to 81st in 2017. The South African Football Federation tried everything, but one coach after another failed this team. Results under the helm of Shakes Mashaba and Molefe Ntseki proved to be just as dismal as under Pitsu Mosimane that came before them. And then, first slowly, then suddenly the tide began to turn in 2021 when the Belgian coach Hugo Broos was appointed as the new national coach. Broos is a kinsman of the Afrikaner people, and his native Flemish is very close to our native language of Afrikaans. Broos is also the first coach ever to elevate the players representing Bafana Bafana to anything close to what they was with the last group that achieved so much in the 90s after coming out of the apartheid era with the apartheid era players. For one, South Africa is playing in the opening game of the World Cup tonight because of the fact that he has led them to actually qualify for the final draw for the very first time in 24 years. In 2024, Bafana also reached third place at the African Cup of Nations, which was their best result since 1998. In fact, of the 55 matches Bafana Bafana has played under Broos, they have lost only 8, which is far, far better than any of his predecessors. Yet, despite the massive successes brought by Hugo Broos, and despite the new heights that the team has achieved under him, one of the players in this year's World Cup squad has accused him of being a racist. At a recent training camp in the run-up to this World Cup, one of the players, Mbekezile Mbokazi, failed to show up on time after multiple warnings. After Broos criticized his attitude, Mbokazi accused him of racism, claiming that Broos allegedly said, and I quote, "He is a black guy, and he will get out of my room as a white guy." The United Democratic Movement, a party represented in the South African Parliament, recently launched an official complaint against Broos with the South African Human Rights Commission. And Broos is now under investigation for this alleged racism right as the World Cup is starting. Despite being the player at the center of this controversy, Broos has continued to include him in his starting lineup when it comes to matchday selections. But you can only imagine how explosive and counterproductive the dynamic and the atmosphere in the locker room must be ahead of this World Cup and today's opening match against Mexico. It is difficult to fathom anything more destructive to team unity than having one of your key players accuse the coach that brought them so much success, who revived not only your career but the reputation of an entire international team, of being a racist. At the precise moment when the team needs complete unity and discipline to compete on the biggest stage in world football. The team now is instead finding itself confronted by these allegations of racism against the first white coach in a very long time, against the very coach who ended the decades-long exile from the top flight of world soccer.
So you sing and I dance.
In a recent video, we highlighted how 7 international soccer players recently shockingly simply went missing in South Africa after playing in a high-profile international game on our soil. Check out that full report by clicking on this link appearing on your screen right now. And please do consider supporting the good work that we are doing here at the Willem Petsche Group by becoming a paying member. Simply follow the easy steps on the banner below. Goodbye and God bless.